Here we go. Hey, everybody. Yeah. All right, Demon Hunters. So once again, we're doing another PvP roundtable talking about Demon Hunters in Dragonflight, according to the beta and the information given to us as of the 9th of October. We got Wolf and we got Trenacetate. I don't think we really need to spend too much time. If you guys want to know who these people are, go ahead and Google them. Otherwise, stick around to the very end and we'll do a quick round on who's who and where you can find people. But really, I want to get right into this. I want to talk about Demon Hunters. I'm super stoked for this. So, I guess first and foremost, let's Tren, Havoc Demon Hunters. Yeah. What are you excited for? What is really what's got you going for this whole tree?
Well, you know how people always like shit on Demon Hunters, right? They always say like we're a 3-button class. Everyone says like you're like 2-button Demon Hunter rotation. Like so they added some more abilities in the mix, So I'm excited about that. Like they added some major cooldown abilities like Essence Break, which is on a 40-second CD, which it kind of changes your whole burst rotation up a bit. So you have better decision making. You're not just sustained damage bot, right? Like a Fury Warrior, how it is right now. So you're more of a setup kind of class right now. A bit more. They added some sigils in there from Vengeance too, so they make the class a bit more complete. So you feel like you have a bit more class identity, which is really nice.
And I like that. I like the fact that they've added in that other utility, the other things that you can do. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people are really excited for in Dragonflight is the fact that these trees have a lot more nuance. There's a bunch more talents and things you can pick in there than we've seen historically in the past. Over to you, Wolf. Yep. What are you excited about in Vengeance?
Oh, in Vengeance, the main things is we are now unkiteable with Master of the Glaive, which previously we were the only tank that didn't have a slow, so we just kind of got absolutely trampled on by any ranged class that knew what they were doing. And we also have a second stun through Chaos Nova. We get the Hunt and Collective Anguish pretty easily. And I'm excited to see Soul Carver come back, because that was the best from Legion. But the main thing is we are now more of a leech tank, kind of, because you can actually hit over 100% leech on Vengeance right now.
Oh, wow.
By combining the Hunt, Soul Rending in Metamorphosis, and Frailty. So overall, you can leech a lot. And I've actually one-shot several people with the combination of the Hunt, Soul Carver, and Elysian Decree.
Oh, wow. Is it they're hitting that hard altogether? Is that like a 0 to 100, like seriously a 0 to 100, or is it like
if they
take a few? Okay, so it doesn't take a few globals. It's like, boom, yikes.
Yeah, because Elysian Decree does have a activation time, so you can kind of do everything in like 2.5 globals. You need to cast the Hunt. You need to wait for Elysian Decree to pop off. So usually you put down Decree, you start casting the Hunt, and as soon as you connect, you hit Soul Carver. But one thing I didn't see anyone talk about is the fact that Infernal Leap / Demonic Trample, if you combine Erratic Fellheart, now has an 8 or 9 second cooldown.
Okay.
With Abyssal Strike, which is basically that's like a 50% improvement to our movements. It went from like 12 seconds down to 8 seconds, which is insane both for epic or not epic rated VGs, flag carrying, and just our general mobility. We also got Vengeful Retreat. So in general, our mobility is much better. We can't really be kited. And the fury increase of all of our spenders is easily offset by how well Fellblade fits into our rotation now.
Nice. Cool. It actually gets me excited because are we going to see Vengeance the return as the main flag carrier in RBGs with all this?
I think so, because Sleeper was actually nerfed down to 10 seconds in the skill tree instead of 30, so that's like, it's a third of as powerful as it used to be, and you can't get Incarn unless you sacrifice one of the other limbs alongside it. So it's like Sleeper is not only nerfed, but it has a huge opportunity cost. So we're
Okay.
in a much better spot than we were. Personally, I prefer like Shadow Meld
Mhm.
for just everything, just because it allows you to sit bases way better than Blood Elf. But
Fair enough. Well, you know, sit there hidden is a much better surprise than sitting there in the open.
I wish
What?
we had a longer range ability.
Well, who doesn't like to reach out and touch somebody from afar?
I mean, just to interrupt flag camps from like beyond 30 meters, because rogues got a increase to the range of their blind, which is going to be rough for us base sitting.
Yeah, that's a good point. Shoot, I didn't think about that. I haven't talked to Rogue yet, so that's coming up. Tren, I want to kick that over to you though. How's Demon Hunter feeling for you in PvP? I think you've been mostly testing just arenas, but have you been playing any BGs as well, or doing any other stuff?
You don't really get queues like on the beta. So like
Yeah.
if you can get arena skirmish or solo shuffle queues, you're lucky enough. So, but yeah, I've been having my fair share of arenas. Feels very fast paced. However, yesterday they did some tuning where they have nerfed like a lot of things. Like a lot of damage has been nerfed. Like so many. Like I have a picture here for you that actually sums it up. Maybe you can show it on stream. It's a big nerfs that actually happened.
All right.
I'll just link it over. I just actually forgot to send it. But
Live radio right here, folks. This is awesome.
like Demon Hunter feels very fast paced. It feels like you have a lot more decisions that you can do. You have a lot more CC. A bit sad that they actually removed, because we had Sigil Silence as well as Havoc. But they still actually removed it. It was a bit strong because it was a 6-second silence. AoE silence actually. So you could like feather option and you could instantly silence, which made people like not be able to use defensive CDs, or you could just do it out of it as a CC. And then you could fear on top and incap on top. So it was a bit brutal. I understand it was a bit very, very strong because you had 4 different DRs, So you had like a stun DR, you have a incap DR, silence DR, and a fear DR. So it was a bit much. It felt nice to play with though, but I think they should have just nerfed the numbers down. Just reduce the numbers, because just removing a DR or a whole sigil silence from your class, it was a big punch in the face. But however, Demon Hunter feels really good right now. It feels better than it was in Shadowlands. It feels like it's a mix. Some stuff from Legions coming back, the same kind of game style.
Okay. I like it. I personally I enjoyed the Legion, just the gearing and the game style of PvP. Also because it was one of the times they brought in PvP tuning specific, which which is nice. So I did bring up the picture for you, talking about so like you said, the soul rending, the metamorphosis leech was reduced in half from 5 to 5 and 10 from 10 and 20.
Yeah, it's a crazy big nerf, the leech actually. I think this hits Vengeance as well, by the way. It actually hits the whole class.
Oh.
Yeah, that one
actually
would.
reduce the leech. Yeah.
So that's unfortunate.
Hey, you can only reach 99%, not 100% now.
I'm sure.
Exactly.
That's actually pretty close. I hit 32% leech on someone just from frailty the other day. And you combine that with the hunt, which is just a flat 50% for 30 seconds. And then of course soul rending. So yeah,
But have you been playing on the beta, Woof?
Oh, they didn't give me the beta, unfortunately.
Okay. You've been playing on the PTR, the pre-patch PTR,
the PTR.
Right?
Yeah, I've been playing a bunch on the PTR. It's often really hard to get into an arena. I once sat for like an hour and a half until I got to skirmish queue. But there's a lot usually happening outside Stormwind, and if you can't find anyone, just go straight into Orgrimmar and hit whoever you can find.
He just looks for them. He goes out on a hunt.
Literally on the hunt to use the hunt. That's awesome. Well, awesome. I guess let's scratch at this a little bit more though. I guess Tren, I just went back to you. So on your trees and that, you talked briefly about the things that you're excited for. What's something that you're not so happy about the tree so far, and the moves that Blizzard has made so far in this expansion?
Yeah, let me grab the tree real quick. I mean, there are some talents that I'm not really happy about that you actually need to pick into that are pretty useless, or like some paths you're forced into. Like, I feel like some abilities like Nether Walk feels like that should just be baseline, or like a blur should be baseline. If you don't pick it, basically you have zero defensives. If you don't pick Nether Walk and blur, you're basically like just made out of paper, which you already are. Because there are so many good talents that for Demon Hunter that you just want to put points into. So there are a few defensive abilities I wished was just baseline. I don't know if this is for every class. Like, for example, Paladins, do they have bubble baseline, or do they need to spec into it?
I'm pretty sure it comes with the class.
It comes with the class, right? Like major defensive CDs, I think they come with the class, right? So even darkness is something you need to spec into. And
I saw that.
yeah,
That seemed a
I don't
little
know.
odd.
Yeah, it's very, very, very odd. And I think, I'm not sure. I tested it on the beta, and it seems like they reverted it back to 20%. Back when it was actually, they put it back to 50%. So I'm not sure if it's bugged or not, but it's also maybe 20% in PvP again, which is really, really bad. And yeah, there's just two different builds you can actually play as a Demon Hunter right now. There's the left side of the build of the talent tree, which is basically a crit burst build. And then you have the right side of the tree, which is like a sustained, just a rot kind of build, right? So you play with Soul Rend, Burning Wounds, Growing Inferno, with Trail of Rune, and Enemies Necessary. So that's more of a sustained kind of build. And the left side is just a crit build, just to one-shot someone. I mean, I don't know exactly what I wanted to maybe suggest to change from positions. But yeah, I mean, overall, it seems alright for Havoc.
Okay.
It seems alright.
I mean, I don't think we need to do the dev's job for them. I think all we need to do is just talk about how it makes us feel, and let them do the development, right? But
yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, for Havoc, I actually kind of saw the right side of the tree as more of like a PvE/AoE thing that was like, you're really scaling stuff that does a lot of AoE damage, like, Inferno, or Growing Inferno and Burning Wound and all that. And Ragefire especially, I've seen huge damage logs from.
Yeah, it's
But
crazy.
I saw the left side of the tree as more of a sustained single target, just because of the insane fury that you're generating, both from the crit refunds and, just spamming Chaos Strike, Momentum, Vengeful Retreat, all that. And of course, you get, and it's just a personal thing with my tree. I actually chose to spec into Trail of Ruin instead of Glaive Tempest. It's a little bit less damage, but it's like one less button. And I mean, I play a Demon Hunter for the meme, 3 buttons. But
is it always a meme though? Is it really?
For most of Shadowlands with PvP, it kind of has been. You have your Fellblade, I-Beam, Blade Dance, and your Chaos Strike, and that's like 90% of the things you press.
I guess so. I remember with Dragonflight, especially on the Havoc side, and I think it was the same with Vengeance, where once you got trapped, once you were unable to move, all you had to do was get locked down, and you pretty much just melted. Are you guys expecting it's going to be the same then in Dragonflight? Are you expecting it to be as fragile without the movement?
What do you mean with the move? What do you exactly mean with the movement?
Well, that's what
Like with Vengeance?
Yeah, well, I know with Vengeance, and I thought the same with Havoc though, is that once you trapped or you locked a Demon Hunter in spot where they couldn't run away, you could just like stun them and burst them. And I know that's kind of the whole Shadowlands thing, right? Is kill somebody and burst. But maybe I'm just being noobish in my understanding of Demon Hunters.
No,
is,
but that's always been one of the major things of DH, which has been such a big
Mhm.
issue, is that you cannot press any single button when you're in CC. So it's not like you have a bark skin or, um, like a defensive stance or like a elemental shaman has like pet wall. There's some or SP can disperse. There's many buttons you can press, right?
Mhm.
So as a DH, when you face like RMP and you try to pre-blur, and then that goes goes to shit. And then your healer's like, oh shit, dude, we need to pre-nether. And then you pre-nether and it goes to shit. And then you have your
Yeah.
pre-dark and you dark still, but they kill you through it. So
Yeah.
it's always been one of the Demon Hunter weaknesses. I always said, like, why don't they just make Netherwalk like castable in a stun or
Mhm.
blur castable in a stun? That would make such a huge difference. But yeah, I don't know. They're not doing it.
I mean,
Uh,
for Vengeance, I was excited to get Blur just because, I mean, it was amazing for Vengeance, but of course we lost that.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, okay, that would be busted if you
yeah,
had
we
Blur
had
as
it.
a Vengeance as a tank, though.
Yeah, it was amazing. I loved it for the short time that we had it. Especially because you didn't actually have to pick Blur, you could just pick Desperate Instincts and it would still proc. Um,
oh, that's neat.
yeah,
Yeah.
but one thing that I haven't seen anyone mention so far is that Vengeance actually got Glimpse and Rain from Above.
Yep.
Okay.
I noticed that in the PvP when they redid the talents and made everything global. Vengeance, yeah, you get cover darkness and rain from above. But in the meantime, Havoc lost demonic origins and sigil mastery, as far as I can tell.
Wait, we lost Siege of Mastery?
I'm pretty sure, unless I'm.
No way. Wait, I'm on the beta logged in. Are you serious?
I'm
That's so
pretty sure.
sad.
Oh, sorry. No, wait. Hold on. I'm an idiot. I was thinking. Sorry.
I think we gained the
You,
Siege of Mastery,
you
right?
do have, yeah, you do have sigil mastery. Sorry.
All right.
Oh,
I
good.
was maybe I was thinking on the other side. Anyway, but you lost demonic origins.
Yeah, so they made Demonic Origins first of the Illidari. So Demonic Origins is a talent. You can choose either Demonic or let's say Demonic Origins because before it used to reduce your cooldown of mana to 2 minutes.
Mhm.
But now they made it first of the Illidari, and now it grants you 10% versatility, and it reduces the cooldown by 60 seconds. So your meta is still 2 minutes CD, and you get 10% verse, and it's a honor talent. So you can still pick it actually.
Oh,
So sometimes what I can do is I'll pick demonic in the talent trees, and then in the honor talents I'll go for let's say the old demonic origins. They just renamed it to first of the Illidari, and you have 2 minute meta, and you have 10% verse as well when you are in metamorphosis. And since you have high metamorphosis uptime, it's actually really good to have this talent.
okay. Well, that sounds good then.
Yeah, it's
I,
good.
I I was just looking for names and I saw that it was missing. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, I know.
All right. Cool. Okay. Well, then that's not as bad then. All right, and then but then like you're saying, Wolf, the cover of darkness, I think you get glimpse as well, and then rain from above. Are these
Yeah.
are these worthwhile for vengeance?
I would definitely take Glimpse sometimes, just because we do get Vengeful Retreat, and you can really, have a lot of outplay potential with Glimpse in general. But the sad thing is that a lot of our PvP talents are just locked down. Like, Demonic Trample is just too good to ever get rid of.
Yeah.
Um, Sigil Mastery, if you're running with Elysian Decree, you're gonna need it. And usually the last spot is occupied by Illidan's Grasp just because a 7.5 second long stun is never not going to be good. Um, Especially because you can use it on like Silver Shard mines to throw people out of the carts and other stuff.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, because you can throw people 40 yards away. It's great. Um,
I wish we would have that one as Havoc. I swear, I always wanted that talent. Just toss them around like at the other side of the arena, like it would be
Yep.
great.
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, you're getting too close to me on Tolverons. Yoink.
Yeah, exactly. Or just like throw them behind where your bodies are, and just kill them behind the
Mhm.
pillar. It would be great.
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. Can you
But yeah,
imagine?
I feel like we're going to be amazing in solo shuffle.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Because I guess especially on vengeance, right? Because first off, you fill a a hunter or the healer role, but then you have so much self healing and everything, like you'd be unkillable. I feel
I
bad
mean,
for
yeah.
your teammates almost.
I mean, that's the thing is like, it's not so much about me, having so much self healing as the enemy team not having a healer. Because as I said, we have pretty insane burst with the Hunt, Elysian Decree, and Soul Carver. So our only real threat is going to be Protection Paladins. Anticipating what you're going to do and using like Guardian of the Forgotten Queen on them. But you can fake cast the Hunt, which is amazing,
Yeah.
and just get them to burn that, and then just like target swap and one shot.
Okay. So the fake casting of the Hunt is still around. That's okay.
Yeah, I love it. You just press, cancel, and
Yeah.
people burn all their defenses.
I remember we were talking about that at the beginning of Shadowlands, talking about how the whole fake casting to burn CDs defensives was just too it was too much of a mind game. You just like mind fake people. Tren, actually a quick question then on
Of
you
course.
for the Havoc. How are you feeling it for solo? You think it's is it going to be the Spectre rule at all, or are you worried?
Well, I think classes will succeed in solo queue that work well, just synergize with many different classes, right? So if you're a class that just works with like two classes, you're gonna have a hard time. But since they added a fear, they removed the silence. So before I was like thinking, yo, listen, if we have a silence and a fear and an ink cap and a stun, it's gonna be huge for solo shuffle. However, we still got a fear, so it's still good. You can still make plays by yourself, because you can just ink cap, fear. You can toss a lot of CC out by yourself without having to rely on your partners. So I think, especially on low rating, it's going to be good because you have a good burst and it's on demand, right? You can just press hunt.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to set up your burst at all, so you can be very bursty and your CC is instant. So I think for solo shop, it can be good, especially on low rating. High rating, I'm not sure. I feel like you're gonna need some certain classes like to link up with, such as a Boomy or a DK or
Yeah.
like if you end up with a mage or something like that, like can be rough. But in general, I think the class is good because we have a fair and instant CC and it's good. The burst right now is really good, so that's why I think it's good. Yeah.
Okay. I think that makes sense. We even saw that in the tournament that just happened. Just some classes that only have minimal synergy. They didn't
Yeah.
perform well after a certain amount of time, or depending on who
Exactly.
they're up against or with. All right, let's dive into this. Let's actually go through some of these talent trees. I'm gonna bring up your first one. I think this is the right one. I'm gonna bring up your first one there, Tren, and I want to see. Let's go through this. What you picked, why you picked it, and if you want, we can even talk about like the changes that you could make or some of the nuances that are in this tree depending on who you're playing with or who you're playing against. How's that sound?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, we can do that. That's the first one, right? The first link I sent.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
Is this the one I got?
Yeah, there's the one. It is one. Yeah, this one.
Okay. All right. Yes, that's the one I got up.
All right. So you want me to go one by one every talent?
You skip over some stuff if you want. I mean, like some of like
All right. Yeah.
Unrestrained
So
Fury. I don't think we need to explain why you picked that one.
yeah. So for you start obviously with your I beam. They changed Demon Blades. That it always does damage and it always generates fury.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have those situations where you're just standing awkwardly in front of a player and just waiting for him to hit, but it's not happening, right? So that was super frustrating. That won't happen anymore. They just reduce the fury uh, generation. So that's nice what they've done. First Blood, it's a big change what they've done to this because it used to be physical damage, but they made this kills damage now.
Yeah.
So that means this synergizes very well with enemies necessary. It's a right bottom talent as well. And also, if you know the honor talent, chaotic imprint, it increases 10% on any school as well, So your blade dance can hit really, really hard because it has skills damage now. Obviously, you want to play Dancing with Fate because it's just flat out like the first three. All the beginning of the talents that I picked is basically baseline. So the Mortal Dance
Mhm.
and the Critical Chaos, that's all the same. Um, the moments you start like shifting in your decisions is like there are certain situations where you don't need to pick Netherwalk. You can be like, like I'm just gonna big balls it. I'm not gonna play Netherwalk this game. I'm just gonna
Okay.
cheese it out, right? So if you don't pick Netherwalk, you can maybe, let's say, you can toss it into Growing Inferno under Trail of Rune just to get more damage pressure out.
Yep.
Those are the situations that you can do. You always want to play Feather Option, of course, and Chaotic Transformation. I've seen some people in PvE complain about this because they don't like Chaotic Transformation. This is you literally like beneficial for PvP players because you can do a
Yeah.
burst with it. So when you stun a target, you I beam, you blade dance, and then you meta blade dance I beam or whatever you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But even this rotation is completely different now because of Chaos Theory. So yeah, Chaos Theory, you can see it on your screen, right? If you hold your
Yeah.
mouse over it.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
got it.
Yeah. So as you can see now that Blade Dance, it causes your next kill strike to within 8 seconds to have a 30% crit chance. It will always refill on Fury. So your whole burst rotation is about always getting a kill strike in between your Blade Dance. So you cannot just simply I beam Blade Dance, meta I beam Blade Dance. So you always want to get a kill strike in between there, and also on top of that, you want to get your SS breakout.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the whole damage burst rotation is a bit. I feel like I feel like Demon Hunter is gonna struggle a little bit because they're used to just 1 2 3 button spam. But yeah. So
You remind me
after
of the old arcane mage where it was 1 1 1 2 1 1 1 2.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So under the Netherwalk, you have Blind Fury. I'm not too happy about this, but you need to pick this to go into Isolated Prey.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I'm not happy about this is the I-beam cast channel is way longer. It's increased by 50%, and this makes you just super vulnerable to interrupts. And since I-beam is a chaos ability, this locks you out from basically every spell. Your stun, your incaps, you're basically like CC'd for 5 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So in certain situations, you need to um, use your vengeful retreat to like get out of kick range and then get your I-beam out. But obviously that also ruins your mobility for your vengeful retreat when you need it or when you need a glimpse. So I'm not the biggest fan of Blind Fury myself.
Okay.
But if you do get it off, like a full channel, like it's big, like it pays off.
Okay.
Um,
Can you cancel I-beam though?
yeah, you can. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, yeah, that's too. That's I think that's a bit too big brain, right? Like you're gonna try to fake cast your IBM and just, hey man, I got a CS out, dude. I faked him. Let's go, dude. I mean, you'll be the champ of your group. Like, it'll be insane.
It's too bad Demon Hunter doesn't have that precognition where then you get CC immunity for juking. That would be
Oh
fun.
shit, that would be huge. Actually, holy, that would be so big. That'd be big.
Imagine
That's,
if it worked like that, but instead it was like with channeled abilities and defensive CDs. So if they accidentally pop their defensives on the hunt, you were CC immune.
oh my god, that'd be too OP. That'd
It
be
would be
just
Yeah.
busted, man. It would be huge. Um.
mages would
So
just
yeah,
pop combustion no matter what. Anyway.
yeah, exactly. So on the left side, I kind of went a hybrid build here.
Yeah.
You can also go completely on the left side where you go initiative, unbound kills, tactical retreat, and momentum. This just makes I feel like this is a lot for PvE, but in PvP situations, I don't personally like to play with momentum because once you need to start using your mobility as a damage source, you're gonna feel very like your movement is gonna be very starved. So you're gonna try to
Mhm.
keep momentum up all the time, and then Monk ports away, or you need a gap closer and you don't have it because you try to keep your momentum up. So I don't like to use mobility as a damage source. So I just went through down the middle to Isolated Prey, the
Yeah.
Chaos Theory. Sorry, were you gonna
No,
say
yeah,
something?
I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I went for Know Your Enemy. and then you want to go for Essence Break. And this Essence Break is crazy right now. Like it does so much damage. Like sometimes I just stun a target, I hunt Essence Break, and it does like it can if both crit, it can global them 100. It's really huge. And if you don't kill someone, you just do 100% increased damage with Blade Dance and Kill Strike, and then for 4 seconds, and you just pump out so much damage. So that is like a hybrid side that like I feel like you always want to play SS Break in PvP. It's always going to be mandatory to go this side, and then you can decide to either go Shatter Destiny, or you want to go to the side of any means necessary. And I feel like Shatter Destiny is more of a trees kind of spec, where games have more longevity because with Cycle of Hatred, you'll reduce your I-beam cooldown, and with Blade Dance, Kill Strike, Glaive Tempest, your I-beam is gonna get reduced. So this is more value over a longer period of game. And if you just look for a shorter amount of game, like I feel like the right side, where you go with enemies necessary through Rune, Growing Inferno, and Burning Wound will be more beneficial. And of course, we have Father to the Flame now as well. So it's a bit of a. I'm a bit stuck in between Father to the Flame and Elysian Decree. Like on paper, if you think logically for PvP, Father to the Flame will always be better. But I feel like they nerfed the procs per minute. It's completely off on the beta. Like sometimes I don't get a demon proc at all, or just one max. And Elysian Decree, it sounds kind of troll, but if you line these up all together, Elysian Decree, the Hunt, and Essence Break, like you can do so much damage. And also Sigil of Mastery, the new Vengeance PvP talent we got, reduces the cooldown of Elysian Decree as well. So yeah, and if you combine it with Quicken Sigils in the normal tree on the right bottom side, it's also reduced by 20%. So I think on the beta I had like 36-second cooldown on Elysian
Yeah,
Decree.
36.
It's crazy. So every single stun I-beam, you basically have a big ass fucking explosion, you know? So it's always fucking crazy. Every 30 seconds you can blow someone up. So
Does
it's
it do the soul
actually kind of
fragments
good.
on Havoc as well? Because I know that Havoc soul fragments give you like what, 30 Fury?
Yeah. I mean,
Oh yeah, so that's 90
it's kind of
Fury
good.
from Decree right there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But they nerfed fodder as well because, as you'll notice, the you don't have any of the duration increases for the soul that you used to. Like the conduit, I think was like 10
Yeah,
extra
exactly.
seconds,
Yeah.
and the Covenant Legendary was like 13 extra seconds. So all total, you have maybe like half the duration that you used to.
Yeah, it's not the same anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah, did you see the I-beam change where they nerfed it to 40 seconds to make it line up with Essence Break, but unfortunately now it desyncs with Cycle of Hatred?
It's I don't understand that change. I mean, it
Yeah.
must have been too hard for PV some people to like, they would have to I-beam and Essence Break at the same time. I mean, somewhere I understand because meta uptime was going to be too high, right? Like people
Yeah.
were having too high meta uptime. They had to nerf it. So with Cycle of Hatred, it ends up on 30 seconds anyway. So without it, it would be on 20 seconds. It would be too busted. It would be too much.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It
And
was
I
just like
think
Essence
uh,
Break, you know?
so yeah, and I think what I like is nowadays in PvP, if a demon hunter pops meta on you, you're like, meh, like it doesn't matter. Like you're not that scared. However, in my opinion, Metamorphosis should be an ability like Conqueror's Banner from a warrior. When they pop their shit, like you're like, yo, let's fucking run, right? Like let's get out of here. That's how it should be. And now a demon hunter, they pop meta, you're like, oh well, just gonna root him, like just whatever, right? He's just a DH. He's not gonna do that much damage. So I feel like they want to make meta more precious, right? More of an important ability by increasing the cooldowns, by having you have less meta uptime.
Which I think is good. I think it
Yeah, it's
needs to
good.
have that. Yeah. Yeah, I
I
think
mean, they gave Vengeance a
yeah.
lot more meta uptime, which is nice. Because a Dark Glare Boon is now guaranteed.
Wait, that's a
Instead of
legendary, right? Dark Glare Boom. Wait, what was that? I recognize the
essentially,
name.
Yes, it's the legendary that had like a chance to reset the cooldown on your eye beam and fell devastation, but now it's for vengeance and it's guaranteed. But it whenever it finishes channeling, depending on how much of it you manage to get off, it gives you back 40% of its cooldown and 20 to 40 fury, which is basically that much more demonic uptime.
Do you need to finish it?
You don't need to like finish it, so it depends on how much of the cast you got off. So if you do get interrupted, you'll at least get like 20%. But like
Okay, yeah.
it's like what was great about it is, it's just more demonic uptime, and with Havoc, Metamorphosis is scary, but with Vengeance, Metamorphosis is, oh no, not this again. I'm just not even going to press my buttons. That's what you want them to feel when they're looking at you, because you have like 300,000 health.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, do you want to go? Let's dig into the vengeance tree then. How's that sound, Woof?
Well, that seems good. There may be some slight differences from the one I chose, just because I didn't know Sigil of Silence was buffed, because it used to be to where you would put it on an enemy in PvP and the duration would be like cut in half. So you'd get a 3-second silence on like a 1.5 minute cooldown, and generally it just wasn't even worth using, because if you were speccing into sigils, then you were probably using Elysian Decree, and if you were using Elysian Decree, you're obviously using the legendary that reduces sigil cooldowns, and it can't reduce all sigil cooldowns, it just picks one at random. So you're reducing your DPS by not like reducing the cooldown on Decree if you use Silence. So generally it was just not worth it to even use it all.
Okay. The Sigil of Silence sounds so good, but you're just saying it's a trap?
Before it was, yeah, because it would reduce your DPS by quite a lot because of how long the cooldown is, and your legendary preferring it over Decree.
Okay.
But
That
and
makes sense.
especially just because it was only like 3 seconds.
Yeah. But
Do you
now,
also get like a 6-second silence now as vengeance?
Yeah, I didn't know they like unnerfed the duration for PvP, so I probably will swap Roaring Fire for Sigil of Silence.
It's fucking crazy, man. Like you can jump on people and just silence them and just piece it again. Like they're not gonna stop you for 6 seconds.
Oh yeah, it's Imprison, so then they're gone for 4 seconds, then I silence them for 6, then I fear them for like what? I think fear is the same as in cap, so it's cut in half, so it's like what, 4? No, like 3
Yeah, fear
seconds.
fear is 6 seconds.
Yeah, so it's like 3 seconds if you do it after in cap, and then I have, Illidan's Grasp, so there's another 7.5. So if I
But
want to keep someone out of the
I
game,
don't think incap DRs with fear. So it's like a full incap on a full fear on a
yeah, I
full
think
silence.
they're on different DR chains.
oh,
Yeah.
good. So like, 6 seconds plus 6 seconds silence plus 4 from Imprison plus 7.5 from Illidan's
I'll
Grasp,
go
and if I
make dinner in the meantime. If I see a
yeah,
DH, I'm just like, dude, I'm off to get some lunch, man. I'm
I
out of
actually want
here.
to like see a challenge of someone making an entire sandwich in the span of a rogue mage combo, but
Yeah.
that's another story. But yeah, then of course you have Chaos Nova after that if you really feel like it.
Yeah, if you just want to fuck with him like one last time, right? Just to disrespect.
Yeah,
Uh
and of course Illidan's Grasp, the last 1.5 seconds, and I usually don't do this. It's actually on stun DR. Normally it's 3 seconds, but of
Mm-hmm.
course because it's on DR, the second half, it's only 1.5, and it does AoE as well. So if you throw it into a group of enemies, it will actually AoE stun them all. The rest for 3 seconds. Um, but usually I won't do that just because it does, do stun DR.
Mm-hmm.
mm.
But it is a very powerful option to have, which is nice.
That looks like, I mean, a demon hunter, a vengeance demon hunter, and a mistweaver sounds like a very deadly combo. I'm seeing with
Oh
all
yeah.
the and then you Illidan grasp, and then you ring a piece in the middle of it, and just watch everybody go flying off the edge.
That's brutal.
I mean, one thing a lot of people don't know is with Illidan's Grasp, you can't use any sort of like casted channel ability. Like if you cast Fell Devastation, it will just completely cut it short. But for some reason, this doesn't apply to the hunt. So what I like to do is I just grasp people and then hunt them while I'm still holding them and do my whole combo.
I'm going to quit the game now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds sadistic. Like
It really is.
yeah, it's crazy. 6 seconds. Yeah, that's
I
wrong.
love it. I love it. I'm
Also,
giggling a little schoolboy here. This is awesome.
our
right.
main damage ability, Soul Cleave, actually got a 40% damage buff, which is insane.
Yeah, what's up with
because
that?
yeah, Focused Cleave, Soul Cleave does 40% increased damage to your primary target. Most situations in PvP, you're not going to be doing too much AoE. And if you are, then Vengeance is great because, you know, it's already an AoE ability. But yeah, so 40% more on our main ability actually makes it hit almost as hard as Chaos Strike, which is insane. And if you have a bunch of stacks of Frailty up, it actually does hit as hard as Chaos Strike. I've hit people for like 11k without Soul Furnace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think you're still gonna be playing Vengeance in like non-flag carrying maps? Because it always used to be, to my knowledge, though, like if you would queue, what's it called, the carts, you know, shit, the one that's on the ground.
Silver Shard Mines.
Yeah, exactly. Like, do you still play Vengeance then? Would
I
you play?
usually do, just because Illidan's Grasp, you know, you throw people 40 yards out of the cart, and that can often mean the difference between taking it and not taking it.
Okay, yeah. Because I know like high rated teams, they like swap out to Havoc. Then, you know, they're like, yo,
Yeah.
if you're a Vengeance tank, like go Havoc. But maybe now
I
it
mean,
could
yeah,
be completely different.
that's the way you do it now, just because Vengeance damage in Shadowlands is just awful, like unplayable. But like in Dragonflight, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right.
So the tree you wanted to talk about, like the
Yeah.
Vengeance tree specifically?
Yeah. I mean, you kind of covered it. You went over the wave tops. You hit kind of the main points, but I'm looking at the
Yeah.
tree you gave us to look at here. Yeah, I noticed. Obviously, you went with you got the Blazing Path, and you got your Vengeful Retreat. You got your Prison because those are required.
Yeah.
What else in here? Like what's the required, and what's the stuff that could be a situational choice on the left side?
I would always take Master of the Glaive, just because having a slow is basically something that you really need. Just in general, it's massive utility. I would kind of sometimes take Chaos Nova. It's since you're already getting 2 stun DRs from Illidan's Grasp, it's usually a bit rough, especially since they both have the same cooldown. But because Darkness has been nerfed, and I didn't entirely know that at the time, I would actually swap Darkness for the sigil node on the other side, Soul Sigils.
Yep.
Which also just connects straight into the hunt. And our goal is to get Quicken Sigils, the hunt, and preferably Collective Anguish all at once, just because it's massive for us. And
I
I
see.
think
Sorry for
Mastery
interrupting,
will be
bro.
our main stat.
But I see you don't have the concentrated sigils as Vengeance, because those ones they increase everything by 2 seconds. You know, like the silence, the fear. Do you think it's needed to, like, you can afford to skip that one out?
Oh yeah, that's like, especially in Shadowlands right now, that's never the play, just because having them placed at your location makes them fairly easy to avoid, especially since we're not picking the Chains of Anger node on the Vengeance tree that increases the radius of your sigils. It's going to make it a little bit too easy. Like if you also have Precise Sigils, which is the one that's placed at their target's location.
Yeah.
And you could use Imprison to set that up. But in general, it's just a lot of points to pass through there.
Mm.
And the main things that we want to hit are Quicken Sigils and Soul Sigils. But I would definitely, for stuff like solo shuffle, I would swap over to more of picking up Sigil of Misery, maybe Precise Sigils instead, because they both have the duration increase,
Yeah.
and swapping to Sigil of Silence. But just for like, your goal is to one-shot someone, I would probably stick with this one.
Okay. So
That seems fair.
it sounds like there's some variation depending on your flavor. There's probably some stuff that's going to be figured out in the first couple weeks of the expansion, but it sounds like from you, Wolf, it sounds like this is pretty locked in. That there's not a whole lot of variation in the left side.
Yeah, like we always want to pick Master of the Glaive. Since Soul Rending is nerfed, it's a bit sad, but it's like, I'll take the 10% leech. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would definitely spend the extra point though, like just take it out of Chaos Nova, put it into Charred Warblades, and then take the 2 out of Infernal Armor and pick up Precise or Concentrated and Sigil of Misery instead, because the only reason we're taking Infernal Armor is just a path. It's terrible. But yeah, so I would
Yeah.
definitely pick those nodes
Okay.
most of the time. But the Vengeance tree itself, as many Vengeance players have already said, the right side of the Vengeance tree isn't that amazing. It's a lot of fiery brand stuff. We didn't even get um the fiery brand legendary, which is a massive hit to that entire side of the tree, really.
Hmm. I was kind of wondering. I remember when I was looking at this, I was wondering why there's so much emphasis on one side of the tree for fiery brand, which is just a passive to your mastery, right?
It's just like fiery brand is just mitigation and a little bit of damage sometimes.
Okay.
I usually press it on cooldown just to get Revel in Pain. Um, and that's why I path through that is it's it's a really strong shield for what it is. It's like on the PTR, it's like 20,000. It's as much as Soul Barrier. Um,
Oh,
just for dealing damage during Fiery Brand.
that's good.
Yeah, so I just pathed over there just to pick that up. Because it's right below Soul Barrier.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take Spirit Bomb. I am one of the few Vengeance players who just outright does not like Spirit Bomb at all. And now with a focused cleave being as strong as it is, there's not really much reason to pick it up. Outside of like PvE, obviously. But the
Yeah.
things I'm most excited for is, of course, Frailty, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're taking way less damage, you're leeching, you're increasing the damage you deal to them. And I've gotten up to, I think 6 stacks of Frailty is the max I've been able to stack at once on someone. Which is, of course, 32% leech. You know, you're doing 32% more damage to them, and you're taking, I can't recall, uh, a certain amount less damage. I think it's like 16% plus whatever you get from Painbringer, so it kind of varies.
Okay.
But yeah, Frailty is massive, which also means that Vengeance Demon Hunters, more than any other tank or like class, honestly, we suffer massively from a lack of uptime.
Well, I think as a vengeance demon hunter, you're either running. If you're running the flag, you don't want to be in the fray, or you're defending somewhere. I don't think necessarily people use vengeance demon hunters thinking that they're going to be able to run through the fray and hit and sit in that scrum of the team fight, right? Wait.
I actually have had a lot of success doing that just because of the tier set that generates soul fragments from Immolation Auratics, especially against like if they're playing a demo lock or something, and combined with Elysian Decree and everything, it's to the point where every other global I'm sucking in a full 5 soul fragments. like I actually have to pick Spirit Bomb on retail just because I can't consume the soul fragments fast enough with Soul Cleave in team fights.
Wow.
And that's usually like insane. Like sometimes I out heal the healers, and
It's crazy.
especially in epic BGs, I remember having an Ashran game where I did like 20 million healing,
That's
and it wasn't
hilarious.
a long game either. But
I
yeah, it's
love it.
great. As long as you have a lot of people stacked on you, at least right now in retail with the set bonus and like agonizing flames and everything, you can totally survive in team fights. That might be a bit different in Dragonflight, but
Hmm.
we do get Elysian Decree, and Soul Sigils is still letting us spew out a bunch of soul fragments just from hitting multiple targets. So I
Okay.
think we might still be good there. But in those cases, I would probably pick up Spirit Bomb just because Soul Barrier, even though it does suck up all 5 soul fragments, the cooldown is a little bit long and you might not always have it available.
Okay. I just realized looking at the tree, we didn't finish it. It's still got spots open below 20.
Which
Unless I
tree?
have the
Mine?
wrong on the Havoc tree. Yeah.
Oh,
I just
let me
realized
look at
that.
the Havoc tree.
All right. I'm
He
just kind of
doesn't need
wondering, like,
more, man.
yeah.
He doesn't need more on any of the talents. Like that's all he needs. Like, you know what?
Yeah, I'm good.
I don't know, I opened the link, but I have 30, 30, 31, 31 on both sides.
All right.
Uh,
I will check it. One more. Oh no, sorry, on the Vengeance. I'm looking
oh,
on the.
on the Vengeance tree.
Yeah, we're talking Vengeance, right?
Oh yeah, I thought you said Havoc, but yeah, even on the Vengeance link, it's 30, 30, 31, 31.
Okay.
I can actually just like give you the link on Discord maybe and see if
Uh,
that helps.
I
But
will reload this and see if that helps. Yeah. Okay. I copied it too early. I was too fast
oh,
in the draw earlier when I was prepping for the show. Here, I
that's
will.
okay. Yeah, I wanted to change a few, as I said anyway, like over to Sigil of
Hmm.
Silence from Roaring Flames and get out of darkness just because
Yeah.
20% versus 50% is so bad. But
No worries. I mean, that makes sense. So I see. Yeah, you went like full on to the bottom though. Like you got 4 out of 5 of the these anchor points ones, like the Soul Carver, Last Resort, plus Elysium Decree, plus Feed the Demon. Yeah, and like you said, yeah, you didn't bother with Down to the Flames because Fiery Brand. Meh. Okay.
yeah, it's that whole bottom row is just crazy. I think Soul Crush obviously is mandatory. Um, Soul Carver is an amazing burst cooldown because it hits. I want to say like over both of the applications, it's like about 20,000 damage, which is pretty good for Vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, of course, Last Resort, it's that's just like Vengeance at this point. Um, and of course, Elysian Decree. You could pick fodder if you just wanted to like go full crab mode and just full survivability, but the burst from Decree and especially the soul fragments is just too good.
Yeah.
Now we lost Blind Faith, which is really sad. Blind Faith was basically every soul fragment that you consumed for 20 seconds after you cast Elysian Decree gave you, I want to say, 20 Fury and increased your versatility by 1% up to 20%,
Okay. That's good.
which was, it basically gave us infinite sustain on our Fury, um, to the point where we were just constantly overcapped. Uh, Tons of versatility in PvP, like I was hitting over 50%, um, which is crazy. And with the Defilement legendary, which is what you would run if you were running Sigils, you could have more or less permanent uptime on that, and sadly it would wipe all your versatility when you recast it, but the Fury generation was still there. Because I was getting Elysian Decree like every 15 seconds. Because you have to remember, Mechanicos had a Soulbind thing at the bottom that it did like 13,000 extra damage.
Mm-hmm.
So that was actually a huge chunk of it. The Elysian Decree build on retail, for one, just because vengeance damage is, so terrible. All total, once you combined Elysian Decree, the recast from the Conduit, and Mechanicos' Anima Infuser thing, it was about 30% of my damage in any given fight.
Whoa.
Just like straight up. And losing that, it's going to be a little sad, but getting Soul Carver and the Hunt definitely more than makes up for it.
That's big.
Hey, Tren, are you
Yeah.
gonna start maining Vengeance when we start doing Dragonflight?
I'm actually, here's the thing: what happens every single time, right? So my friends, they're like, "Yo, Trent, let's do some dungeons." I'm like, "Sure, dude."
Yeah.
Then I get invited in like 4 cloths, right? They're like warlocks, priests, and I'm the only leather guy there. So I'm always gonna be abused in the beginning. I
Yeah.
have to play tank, but then it always. I never do BGs personally. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't do like dungeons or mythic plus or raiding either. So, but looking how it like that vengeance actually does big damage and it has a slow. It actually looks a lot more fun. So I think I'm gonna pick up definitely some vengeance for some RBGs.
Okay.
It's crazy, man, because you have so much stuff. Like you have the sigil of chain, so where you can pull people together, and then you have a fear, and you have the silence, and you have a hunt. Like you can fly over the map and just like piece it. It's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I think definitely vengeance is gonna be something I can pick up. Just but as a casual though, I'll be just the
Oh,
daily RBG once a
Oh
day.
no! I was talking taking this into the arena, man. Take it up to
Oh, it's
the
for real. Like
take it 2400 with an evoker, man. See what happens.
You
just
could
pushing the
definitely, like,
AWC. You never know. Like we
Yeah.
always pull out the weird comps. Like maybe we can make it work. Um, but
I mean,
yeah,
they do have
like
a rank 1 title for each spec for solo shuffle.
That's
yeah,
true.
that is something I'm really excited about. Actually,
I might go
that's.
for
Yeah.
that for Vengeance.
I mean, you should definitely. I don't
Especially
think.
since no one plays this spec. Like,
I think if
if
you
you look,
Q1 game, you'll get it.
it's actually true. Like, if you looked on the RBG ladder for this season, there's like all the way down to 0 rating. There's like less than 100 Vengeance Demon Hunters.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a very poorly played spec. Like nobody really plays it.
It's so sad.
Oh, and that's because also nobody wants to take it. I mean, yeah, if you have a choice between 1800 Guardian Druids out there for flag cap with the double legendaries, and they can just walk through, and then you have
Yeah,
it, out of the 5 demon hunters, one might be competent enough to go that high level. Like it
of course. You want to play
yeah,
safe. Yeah.
exactly. Nobody wants to risk anything.
Damn.
Yep.
All right. I guess PvP talents. I just quickly throw back on the vengeance tree here. I noticed. So you said you picked sigil mastery, Illidan's grasp, and demonic trample.
Yeah.
But there's not really much variance there. You're saying, Woof, or was there
No,
anything
there's
that
not
you're
really much like
okay?
variance to that. Sigil Mastery, of course, if you're playing Elysian Decree and Quicken Sigils, that's like, that's locked in.
Mm-hmm.
Demonic Trample is like one of the best movement abilities in the game.
Yeah.
Um, you can outrun like mounted speed with that. It's basically the Paladin's Holy Charger, except it's every 8 seconds and it's like 75% faster. And also you stun people once every 30 seconds that doesn't DR.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, you can use that as a soft interrupt. If you don't have the demonic trample debuff already on them, then if someone's casting something, you don't have an interrupt, you can trample, just like quickly press it and then cancel it, just to like knock them over.
Huh.
And that I'm pretty sure that doesn't even affect like precognition or anything. So
Probably not. Is that ability not nerfed though when you're carrying a flag? Isn't there like a debuff that counters it? Or is
Oh
that
yeah, it's horrifically nerfed when you're carrying a flag. Like it's not
okay?
even worth using. Which is why I always keep Infernal Strike on my bars, even though like I don't use it unless I'm flag carrying. But yeah, it's just terribly nerfed. But the good
Okay,
thing is Infernal Strike, it's 8 seconds cooldown now instead of like 12 seconds, so we're gonna be much better flag carriers.
nice.
Oh, that's a huge buff. 4 second reduction.
Yeah.
The evokers, they have this buff too, right? Where it reduces it by 15%.
Oh, they
The
do.
yeah. So like it reduces your Infernal Strike and Fell Rush by 15% on top of that. So it's gonna be like 6 seconds? Holy fuck.
Probably like 7.2 or something.
That's something like that. It's like Demon Hunters like skipping around everywhere, man. Like it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, I'm glad to see Vengeance come back into RBGs because, we've just kind of been floundering for a few years compared to Bear.
It's our time to
Yeah.
shine now, right?
I think really, if you think about it, the same thing happened with Demon Hunters when they first came out. Death Knights when they first came out, and they were the hero class, and they were like super OP, and everybody loved them, and they did some crazy stuff, and then they got nerfed down to the ground, and then they've been built back up. So I think kind of the same thing happened, right? Demon Hunters, they came in, they were like the hero class, they kind of broke the meta, they got nerfed down, and now they're built back up. So
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I always say like I never want my class to be good in the beginning of the expansion because that like you'll get the SP treatment, like you'll be nerfed to the ground or like a warlocks. It's gonna be horrible. By the end of the expansion, you're not gonna have any buttons left. And if you're too OP in the beginning, like
Yep.
it's always better to just get buffed mid-season or
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to
because
talk about off stat changes to where I think for Vengeance we now may actually want to scale Mastery instead of Haste.
Oh, why is that?
Well, our Mastery got changed to where half of the, where it used to give you a massive armor boost during demonic spikes. Well, they actually changed that to where half of that bonus is now permanently active and the rest of it is active whenever you hit demon spikes. And of course, we get Feed the Demon now basically for free, which is great. But the other main thing is Mastery increases our movement speed, as you can see. And as we're a tank, Mastery also increases our attack power. And it doesn't reduce the cooldowns on like the Hunt or Soul Carve or anything like that. And those are all, attack power based. So of course, I hit harder on Vengeance with the Hunt than I do on Havoc. So yeah, basically, I think the strat is just going to be Pump Mastery. You get a decent chunk of movement speed, a bunch more attack power, and a decent bit more armor. Whereas with Haste, it does reduce your Fracture cooldown, and of course your GCDs and all that, which lets you apply more frailties. But we're getting a ton of Soul Fragments just in general, so I don't think Fracture is going to be as important as it was.
Okay.
It's just such a loaded stat, though. Like, you're getting attack power, armor, and movement speed all at the same time.
Yeah. I liked Mastery when it first came in as a spec or as a stat because it really helped a lot of specs. It seemed to have a bit more nuance than Haste did, but
Mhm.
yeah, I hope they get rid of versatility someday soon. It's so boring. It's
Yeah.
just load it
Yeah.
and be done with it. Fire and forget. Back to you, Tren, for on the Havoc side. PvP talents. Is there anything there that you really find like the necessaries, or is there's any nuance there? What are you looking at?
Mm, well, so they removed Mortal Dance from our PvP talents to just a normal baseline. PvP to a normal talent. So you won't be picking that anymore in your PvP talent. So it gave us a kind of a slot. It opened it up. I feel
Yeah.
like um, what I'm gonna be baseline specking usually will just be Detainment. So it will be the big incap. It will
Yeah.
be Glimpse.
course.
And from here on out, I think what I'll have baseline is chaotic imprint. And depending on what I'm facing, I might swap some things out, right? So um, if I'm facing like the rogue mage or something I have to dispel, I'll pick reverse magic instead of chaotic imprint. If I need to keep on playing reverse, I'll take out my glimpse, and then last one I'll take out detainment. Now they've added the Sage of Mastery in there as well, so I feel like into comms where you really need to win on CC, or you just wanna just do setups instead of playing chaotic imprint, you can maybe play Sage of Mastery. But I
Okay.
personally think, yeah, chaotic imprint will be all the time picked because it skills so well with your blade ends. So I think it will
Yeah.
be Detainment, Glimpse, and chaotic imprint. And you know what? You want to play Glimpse basically every single time because you can make so many plays with it. It's so broken. You can destroy ghosts completely with it, and especially if you're gonna be in situations where you won't be picking Netherwalk, like we spoke about before. Glimpse can just deny a whole go. But I've heard I heard they're gonna add some different talents, right? They're not done with the PvP talents. I'm not sure if that's 100% true.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. I heard that
Yeah.
they basically shelved the their want to make a bunch of PvP talents and do a wash through on those is going to happen. We're not sure if it's going to happen in a .5 or a .1.
Hmm.
So,
I just hope they're gonna return the mana burn back. Even though I hated it, it was so obnoxious. People hated
yeah,
it. It just gave a different kind of playstyle. So
yeah,
yeah, you
yeah.
felt it. I think you beat mana burn many times. I can
Yes.
feel it.
I'm sorry, but like I remember watching that and it was like, okay, the first time it was kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool, right? And then it was just again, it was imprison, mana burn, imprison, mana burn.
Yeah.
Uh, it was just, I don't
But
know.
but that's where I think they don't did it correctly. I think they should give you two options, right? So you want to go in a spec where you are able, because the issue was Demon Hunter couldn't finish. They couldn't kill before high damp.
Yeah.
So you were basically forced to win on mana bar, on the blue bar.
Hmm.
If they give you the option, like, okay, I can go try to win the game very fast, or I can play the longer game. I think
Yeah.
having those options are good. If you're just forced into playing the burning and damp way, it's not fun, you know.
Yeah.
So if they can find a middle ground in there somewhere, could be good.
Yeah. I
Maybe.
I I'm always a proponent for regular abilities to give a moderate amount of damage and then your CDs to boost that. But right now this whole like abilities don't really do anything until you pop your CDs and then all of a sudden you burst somebody to from 100 to 0 is
Yeah.
like I'm so tired of that meta.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have some sort of a sustainment value and then boost that slightly than this like almost nothing to like you're killing somebody. Just yeah. Anyway.
I
Yeah,
saw
I
a
mean,
lot of that.
when I play high rated PvP, we come in situations where we're just like, okay, well, let's just chill for 40 seconds, because in
Mhm.
40 seconds they're gonna have their scary moment, and we just have to react to that, and then in between nothing happens. Like they
Yeah.
don't force a CD, just run around a bit, just do your basic rotation, wait for them to do their go, react on it, and then do your go. So it's not constant tension, right? Unless you face
Mhm.
RMP, of course. But but yeah, I mean,
Even
it's
even
it,
RMP
it
is a hit and run, right? But
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
But every 20 seconds, they can do something
Mhm.
crazy on you. But it's what you're basically explaining is something that is very present in TBC and in Wrath,
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
Wrath PvP. That's where that was mostly the case.
Oh, I know. And you can feel it, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you went to a boxing match and the two fighters in the ring danced around for a minute and then punched each other for 10 seconds and then danced around for another minute?
Yeah, that's basically literally how it is. That's literally how it is. Yeah, I swear. It's
It
crazy.
is. It is. All right. Okay, I want to talk more about Demon Hunters though. I only have 2 trees to talk about. So
Yeah.
we talked about the talents, we talked about the stuff we liked, we talked about the PvP talents and all that stuff. I don't think I really heard stuff. Do you guys feel like we talked about what we don't like though? Like, is there stuff there that is like, this really sucks, guys?
I mean, losing Blur for Vengeance was sad because it's like that was really strong, but it might have been a bit much. The main things is there's certain legendaries that enabled playstyles for Vengeance, like the Fiery Brand one and Blind Faith for Elysian Decree. Those were great. Defilement was the one that I was shocked to not see on the tree. Um, just because it's like such a vengeance thing, you know. But the I don't know. There's not too much that I'm really sad about. It's like
Okay.
we got a pretty good deal out of it. The only thing that I'm not entirely glad about is the fact that we aren't like the highest health scaling tank anymore. It's Protection Warriors, and that's just I like big number good. But yeah, Pro Warriors now have the most health.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I like sitting on my prop paladin and looking at my 140,000 health and be like, yeah, I could take a hit.
Yeah, that's how it is. I mean, on my Vengeance, I'm like on retail. I think I'm at like 172, 176k, so it's quite a lot. But on Protection Warrior, I haven't like played them, but I know that you can get to 65% base stamina increase off your tree, and then 10% more from Indomitable, which is insane because you know that's even more than Bears could even get with High Mastery, because it was a toss up on who was the highest health between Bear and Vengeance. I think it was at like 14.5% mastery or something like that.
Holy.
That Bear started to get more health than Vengeance. But obviously just raw health values don't mean all that much. But oh yeah, Blood Decay lost 10%, so that's something.
Well, so I guess here's for Wolf. Do you think they're going to maintain the whole what's it, the nerf to tanks in PvP where they take more damage, and they're a little less effective? Do you think we're going to see that again, or do you think with the trees and what they've done so far that you're going to go in and with what you have is what you have, and you're going to be 100% effective PvP or PvE?
I think they're probably never going to get rid of the 50% damage increase, because obviously even with that we're still really tanky. I think the only thing where it's kind of an issue is against leech DPS like Havoc, so obviously they're healing way more against you and it's really hard to kill them. And that's the other thing, is I was actually doing a bunch of duels on the PTR, and one thing that kind of struck me was the fact that I had several infinite duels with classes that I shouldn't be having infinite duels with, like Fury Warriors and Enhancement Shamans. It's like, I should be able to kill these specs, but maybe it's just PTR tuning. But, neither one of us can kill each other. Same with like Unholy Death Knights.
That seems a little bit weird.
Yeah. Unless I get a crit on like my hunt combo and then they're just dead. But
You shouldn't. Yeah. Again, back to that conversation about being, the winning combination is a crit or a CD. All right. What about you, Trend? Did we miss anything? Is there anything else that you feel that they should change or that they didn't change that should have?
That they changed, that they removed. I mean, there wasn't that much from Demon Hunter that they could remove, but one cool thing that would be fun or convenient. I mean, did you play Legion, Demon Hunter back in the day when you had like Bloodlet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now they made Soul Rend very deep on the right side of the tree, and it would just be nice if they would put it way up, like at Furious Throws, like somewhere on tops to just have that baseline every single time. Because back then, you could kite, you could just throw glaives, slow them, and just beat them up, and then you could still apply pressure without playing the game that much because you were so vulnerable.
Mhm.
And I really like that kind of gameplay. You can still do it, of course, but it's not the same way. And another thing I would love for them to change is the Fel Barrage. And the way Fel Barrage works right now is, it's just this little AoE circle, and just like you pop it, and then it just does AoE damage around you. But if you remember back in Legion how Fel Barrage used to work, it was an amazing ability. Like,
Yeah.
do you have any? Can you recall how it used to work?
No, I can't.
What? it was an ability you could walk and cast it, and you could do it through. So if you would use it in line, you could go behind the pillar, like as if a elemental shaman would lightning lasso you. They would go behind the pillar, and it was such a skillful move, and it did so much damage and burst. And then you could like play very on range, use your Fel Barrage, come in, and then do your burst, and then you could kite out again. And that was a gameplay I really really enjoyed, because you could get punished so easily as a DH,
Mhm.
but you could do crazy burst. And the removal of the blade dance dodge is also something that is very very sad.
Yeah.
Because when I was like abusing it, like it was amazing. Like it was so 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 good, and I always wanted them to change it um, to a way where they would return blade dance dodge to just a separate ability, right? So back
Mhm.
in what kind of ruined it in BFA was that people were just spamming blade dance on cooldown like every 4 or 5 seconds as a damage rotation, and then they would just luckily dodge an ability. But they should just I always said they should just remove blade dance from your damage rotation and use it like so you can just dodge an ability. That's it. So
Okay.
people don't get annoyed by how do you say it, like very low risk high reward kind of gameplay.
Yeah.
So that is something I would love for them to see come back, because it was a skillful thing you could really make nice plays with. But for now, I'm not complaining that much actually. Like it seems good.
Mhm.
They've done a huge improvement to Havoc.
Yeah.
Uh, because in Shadowlands right now, as it is right now, it's really really bad. It's
Yeah.
not enjoyable at all. But it's good.
Okay.
Just a
I
few points.
I think like the thing, it's sure things are good. Could they be better? Likely,
Yeah.
right? There's always the ability to improve. Um, I like that idea though. Is take blade dance and maybe even turn it kind of like an evasion or a fist of fury parry kind of thing, like that kind of a thing. But yeah, like you said, if somebody's just spamming a button and happens to block or dodge an ability,
Yeah.
just that's yeah.
Yeah. That's
Um,
not it.
just I guess one thing, because this did get announced recently, and I feel it's worthy to part of the conversation, is the tier sets. So you got the 2 set and the 4 set announced. Again, this is still in development and that, so nothing's hard set. But for Havoc, how do you feel about the 2 set where Chaos Strike and Blade Dance chance to critically strike is increased by 5% and the critical strike damage increased by 10? That's the 2%. And then on the 4 set, your Chaos Strike and Blade Dance have a 20% chance to increase the damage you deal by 8% for 6 seconds. Critical Strike increases this chance. So there's a lot of drive towards stat weighting to Critical Strike, which I'm questioning for PvP. But I don't know. What do you think,
Yeah.
Trent?
Yeah. So they basically made this now that we are forced to play crit verse, and I'm not a big fan of that, because um the reason why, of course, I mean, I do like I prefer haste over crit, because it makes your gameplay way faster, way smoother, so a
Mm-hmm.
lot more fast paced. So it seems like they really want us to go crit, because Essence Break is on crit, the Chaos Theory works with crit, everything kind of skills with crit. Also, you know your enemy, where you gain critical strike damage equal to 50% or 100% of your critical strike chance. So They really want us to go crit, and I think we have to because 2 and 4 set pieces are just way too strong. But yeah, like we're just gonna have to play crit verse full. That's the in PvP and PvE. That's just it.
Which is going to be really
So-
interesting. I
Yeah.
think this is the first time I've seen or heard somebody say that they're going to main stat crit in PvP for
Yeah,
about
I mean,
4x packs.
isn't it? Wait, did they remove the nerf of crit, like the way it
Yeah.
skills in PvP? They removed it, right?
They lessened it. So instead of being 100%, it's 75%, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But
something like that.
that also increases the value of know your enemy, of course, because if you have like 25% crit, it's not like it's not just 25% more damage for PvP. It's like it's bigger.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, I created someone for like 130k of a blade dance in on the beta, and they have like 170k HP. It's a bit,
Yeah.
it's a bit crazy. You know?
And
It
that's
was
just
a
a
bit
final
crazy.
hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Working as intended. It's
Yeah, it's gonna get nerfed completely.
wow. I honestly don't trust any of the numbers we're seeing on beta just because
Yeah.
the tuning passes still have to go. Like, I mean, something that's hitting for 150k crit may be 75k tomorrow, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
what about Woof? What about over on the Vengeance side? How do you feel about the 2-set? Bonus shear fracture deals 20% more damage, generates 20% more fury, and has 15% chance to generate an additional soul fragment. And then the 4-piece Spirit Bomb and Soul Cleave have a 12% chance to deal 50% more damage and cause targets they hit to deal 15% less to you for 8 seconds.
Overall, it's like the 2-set. I do enjoy 20% more damage and fury on fracture, especially fracture because the way they changed the fury cost of Soul Cleave from 30 to 35, it was actually desyncing a little bit with our fracture, so we had to take Fellblade in order to have our rotation be the way it's meant to be. But with 20% more fury, that seems great. But the only thing I'm not a huge fan of is on both of these, there's a lot of RNG that's like sometimes it's big. And I mean, I guess it's the kind of same way with crit, but it does make it a little bit harder to play around. But overall, I do enjoy just it does more damage, especially with Soul Cleave. 12% chance to do 50% more damage. So that's like what over the course of a million years, it's like 6% more damage total.
I don't know. I mean, 12% chance. That's not very high RNG. Like how often are you soul cleaving and spirit bombing?
We're just doing a ton of Soul Cleave just because it does 40% more damage than it used to, and it applies 2 stacks of frailty. I don't know if that's a bug or not. Because maybe it's just something going on with that. But yeah, Soul Cleave is applying 2 stacks of frailty instead of 1. And that's how I got it to stack to 6 with its like 4-second duration. But um, yeah, the chance to do that much more damage is pretty nice because, as I said, I've already hit people for like 11k on the PTR where people have like 90,000 health.
Yeah.
So 50% more on that on one of our main spenders as a tank is nice. It's just the RNG of it and how little of a damage increase it is over a really long span of time is, I mean, it's just more damage. You can't really complain about that, but it's not like this isn't gameplay changing.
Yeah.
And I'm not smart enough to do the math on the uptime for the less damage taken. Because it's like 50% less damage for 8 seconds, and if I'm soul cleaving every so often, what are the chances? How often do I have uptime on this? But I can do the math on the first part, which is if it's a 12% chance for 50% more damage, that's, it's essentially like 6% more damage, I want to say, over the course of like an infinite duration, but I wouldn't quote me on that.
Yeah. I hate these like percent chance to do percent amount of whatever. It makes my brain hurt for math.
Yeah.
But your 6% over an infinite opportunities sounds appropriate. Still, I guess that's the thing. I was just trying to figure out like if you're spirit bombing once a minute and soul cleaving 4 times a minute, then that gives you 5 chances over 1 minute to get 5 chances of a 12% chance, which is 1/5. And now my brain hurts.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna help you guys on this one.
I mean, the only
It's way too
thing
late for me.
I think it has like way too much variance because if you pick
Mhm.
Soul Furnace, then every 10 soul fragments you consume increases the damage of your next Soul Cleave or Spirit Bomb by 40%. So let's say, you magically just to have the stars align, you get Soul Furnace at the same time that, you proc the 4-piece set bonus and it's a crit. You're gonna hit like 25k on your um on your soul cleave, and you have a bunch of frailty stacks up at the same time. So it's the difference between like doing normal damage, doing like 4 times the damage, just
Mhm.
every once in a blue moon.
It's a slot machine right there. That's what that is.
Yeah.
All right. I think I love it. I love the conversation. I think that pretty much covers. I think pretty much everything. I don't think there's anything else that I had thinking in my head. Trend, is there anything that you felt that we needed to talk about that we haven't hit yet?
I mean, we went through everything. I think all the changes, right? So
There's
Yep.
one thing though.
I just think maybe in the future we can have a conversation about what comms are going to be good and PvP strats. That could be fun sometime to
Oh, that'd be
really
fun.
talk about.
Yeah.
That's like more in depth, of course. Like we can talk about it for hours. But for now, the general changes in Dragonflight, I think we covered most of it.
And
Yeah.
there's just one more thing, which is
What's that, Wolf?
they changed the PvP gearing, which is amazing.
Yep.
Because I think we can all agree the Shadowlands PvP gearing system is not ideal. It's a bit rough, especially with the rating gated per character conquest upgrades that take like 100,000 honor to max out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's a lot better, especially, and maybe this is just something that I've noticed. I think the Shadowlands gearing system has made PvP a lot more toxic because a lot of people don't even want to be there. It's like, we have to hit this rating to get a gear upgrade.
Yeah.
And that's just not possible for everyone, so
No, true. I don't disagree. There is yeah. I actually got very tired of the PvP gearing in Shadowlands to the point where I was actually getting more enjoyment out of doing Mythic Plus than I was PvPing and trying to chase the gear tail.
I mean, what's sad is I actually, for a little while, I started playing the PTR so I could have a full set of gear.
I mean, if you check my armor right now, you will see I don't even have a single piece of the new season's gear. So I haven't even played. I haven't even done shit.
I
I
have
just
like
can't get myself to do
1,800
it.
gear on,
Like,
but I just haven't logged on in like 3 weeks on retail.
That's harsh.
Yeah.
Ouch. All right. Well, I'm glad we're not talking about we're talking about Shadowlands. We're talking about Dragonflight. So that's a lot easier to listen to, I think.
It's just a bad dream.
It's just a bad dream. It'll go away. Quickly, I'm gonna start with you, Wolf. I think is there anywhere where can people find you if they want to hear more about Vengeance Demon Hunter?
Yeah, I have no idea. I'm kind of just like nowhere, and also I change my name and everything every 5 minutes. So basically, just like, I don't know, look behind you or something, but but no, in general, I mean, I sometimes post on the forums, so just most of the time, if you want to keep up to date on Vengeance Demon Hunter, the class forums, usually there's people on there.
Okay.
I can say that much at least, but I don't know if you would like more information on me. My favorite snack is incredibly boring. It's bottled water and Cheerios out of the bag.
That actually sounds
Yeah,
pretty
that's
yummy.
about it.
Love it.
I mean, it is.
I think, well, and I know we ran into each other over on the Oasis community there and also in the Demon Hunter Discord, the class Discord. So
Yeah.
I know you like to frequent there once in a while as well.
Yeah, I'm around there every now and again. Most people are not particularly friendly to tank players in PvP, so I don't post too much.
Fair enough. That's fair. Tren, just in
Yeah.
case somebody doesn't know how to Google, where could they find Trenacetate in the interwebs?
Just my name, Trenacetate TV, and you'll find my all my socials, so my Twitch, my Twitter, my YouTube channel, everything will be there.
Awesome.
So just my name, what's on the banner, on this beautiful banner that you made.
Thank you. Well, I didn't make it. It's the fine folks over at Bonus Roll Productions made it for me.
Awesome.
I don't have any graphic ability in my body, so I can talk like a nobody's business, but and apparently I can talk out of my bum too, because I seriously thought that some abilities were gone that apparently are actually sitting right there in the PvP talents. But that's a different story. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this. This is going to end up on the Bonus Roll Productions YouTube channel if you want to watch it there instead of over on Twitch. And just for those fine folks over there, make sure you give a like and subscribe and hit the bell and all that other fun stuff, because we're going to be doing more of these. And they also have a bunch of really cool content over there as well. In that case, thank you guys for joining me in this amazing conversation. I really enjoyed this. And
Thanks for having us.
oh no, thank you. And hopefully over this past was it hour and 40 minutes, somebody's Wrath Classic queue popped, because apparently that's also a thing. All right. You guys have a good one. Take care.